Welcome back to the final episode of Doubling the Value with Rhys's VN. Today, we're going to tackle the engine bay. The engine bay is the final step we're going to take with this car to clean it up. The engine bay is an often overlooked area of the car that doesn't normally get cleaned in your weekly or monthly or whatever cleaning schedule. Here's a really good shot of the difference between the exterior paint of the car that we actually did over a month ago, and then take a look at the engine bay. What we're going for here is a transformation that any of you can follow along with at home. It's not about having the greatest looking engine bay in the world. It's not a show car, but it is a nice example of a VN Commodore, and it does deserve to be cleaned up. So if you're gonna follow along and do the same, do it to your spec. You might have some things that need fixing at the same time while you're in there. You might consider replacing something like that on your own car if your time and budget allows. At some stage, the car's had the bonnet insulation removed and it's left a bit of a residue on here. Today, we're not going to be tackling that. I'm not even sure how you might start to get something like that off. You can get replacement parts on eBay. They sell them brand new or remanufactured or whatever for about 140 bucks. So it just sits over the top of that and would fix that up nicely. We're not going to do that today, like I said, but if yours is in a similar condition, then it's something you might consider doing. Step one of cleaning the bay is to remove the easy stuff so that we can get into the nooks and crannies with our microfiber cloths and our brushes. So to get started, we're going to take the battery out and the intake pipe off to get a bit more access.
One thing to remember when removing your battery, always start with a negative terminal, because if your spanner is on the positive terminal and you touch anywhere on your car, it's going to short out and cause you some grief. So we'll just slip that back in there so I don't lose it. So we're just going to take the washer bottle and the overflow bottle out too, so we can get in underneath everything.
And have a go at that. We weren't even going to take it off. Rhys is like, well, while we're in here, let's do it. And what a good decision. Look at all that stuff. Look at all that dirt and leaves and stuff. We never would have been able to pick that up if we didn't remove that overflow bottle. You can go as hard as you like with taking stuff out of the engine bay. If you got a bunch of mates around and you got a couple of days to do this, you could take out, you could remove the fuse box. You could take away all this trimming here above the radiator. Have a go at all the dust that comes off. So this is just a basic detailing brush. It's the same one that we used on the exterior of the car and also the interior. Giving it a nice brush. Really going to help later on when we start hitting it with the degreaser. Don't be afraid to take your time and really make a good go of it, because the last thing you want to do is spend a day doing this and taking shortcuts. If you're going to give something a really good deep clean, then make sure that you do it the service that it deserves and really get that good result. So here's how it's come up. We've just brushed it with the detailing brush and given it a quick vac. All the stuff that's come out, all the leaves and stuff that's come out of all the little nooks and crannies and stuff that we've been able to sort of get in there and clean out. It's just the beginning, it's just the start of the process, and it's just trying to get rid of all the loose dirt and all the leaves and stuff to get ready for the next process. And that next process is degreasing.
So we just got some, 5 for $10, $2 a can, super cheap auto degreaser, and we're literally just gonna hit everything. Just give the whole bay a good squirt.
Stuff's gonna lift off that easy, it's not even funny. So we're gonna let that sit for a couple of minutes and then we're gonna start wiping it off with a microfiber towel. Now that we've given it a bit of time for the degreaser to set in, I'm not going to video the whole process, but essentially what I'm going to do is go around with this just in case there's any spots that I missed, and the detailing brush just to agitate it and get all the grease and dirt lifted up off the surface. I've got I've got a whole heap of these dry microfibers. I'm going to use that to wipe the surface clean, and then I've got a damp cloth here that's going to wipe the residue of the degreaser off. Make sure you stick around. We're about halfway through, and man, the bay is coming up a treat. Don't pan to the bay. I want to keep it as a surprise for the end. I'm telling you, it's well worth the effort. We're on to cleaning the stuff that we removed out of the bay. Much easier to clean this stuff when it's out. We're now at the stage where we're going to coat all the black plastic parts in the bay with this trim restorer. It's the same trim restorer that we were using on the exterior of the car in the previous episodes. Treat the black stuff in the bay the same. Just to reiterate the process that we've been going through, to degrease the bay, we've been spraying the degreaser on, agitating it with a detail brush and wiping that off with a dry, clean microfiber, and then going over it again with a damp cloth. Even just after applying that degreasing process, it looks a million times better. Applying this is going to just make it pop. It's going to be unbelievable, and I can't wait to see the transformation. Make sure you stick around because it's gonna look awesome, and it's gonna be so satisfying when it's finally done. The directions with this, super easy. If you don't use this particular brand or whatever, make sure you follow the directions on the back. It just makes black plastic parts, it cleans them, protects them, and makes them look awesome. And we are done for today. So we went through and quickly got all the dust off with a brush and gave it a quick vacuum. Then we degreased it. We removed all the stuff that we could easily get to, shot some degreaser all over it, agitated it with a brush, wiped it off, and then wiped it down with a wet rag. And finally, before putting everything back together, we've wiped all the black surfaces with a black trim restorer. And have a look at the transformation. All up, it probably took us, I would say, 4 hours, and we weren't sort of working as hard as we could. We had a few drink breaks and a few rest breaks, and we had lunch and that sort of thing. So that's a bit of a time frame for you. It really depends how in depth you want to go. And here is another shot of that shot that you saw earlier. Have a look at the difference in that. Given that it's a 30-year-old car, it is not perfect. Here's the battery bay. So we completely removed the battery. We cleaned up all the stains and all the grease basically and the dirt that was trapped in there. But what it's revealed is there's obviously been some sort of, it could be like a battery explosion, I'm guessing, but I'm not too sure. It's something that's actually removed the paint. It's also left a bit of a stain there. We did try and sort of work it out, but it just wasn't coming out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is real. This car is not a show car, and I think it actually gives a really good representation of a lot of the cars that we as young Aussies work on and like to modify and play around with. I think this is a very good base for a car that you could do a whole bunch of stuff to. And I'm sure you'll agree, is just simply having a nice clean base to work off really changes your perception of the car, and also lets you think a bit more clearly about what areas need attention. So if you were gonna, maybe do an engine swap in this, given the damage that it's got to the paint, you might decide that you want to paint the bay, or you could do anything. That's just an example. But we're really stoked with how it's come out. I want you to let me know in the comments what you thought about the transformation of this car. We are going to do a 4th episode. I was talking to Rhys earlier, and we're going to do a bit of a walk around of the car and maybe a bit more of an interview style with Rhys, who is the owner. It's his car. We've used it for this transformation, but he's got some plans for it and stuff that he wants to do to it as well. And just given the interest that it's got in the channel, we thought we might even keep it going and keep tabs on the modifications and what Rhys does to the car in the future. So I hope you can join me for that. Thanks so much, and I really appreciate all the, all the comments and stuff. I read every single one, and it's just a great thing, and I really can't wait to do some more. I've got some stuff happening with my own car, and you'll see those videos. I'm trying to upload some videos with a bit more frequency to sort of give you guys a bit more to look at. But anyway, I'll stop rambling. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.